there, we're going to do a quick rundown on different systems to use in a new role-playing campaign. Also, you may notice my spiffy jams that just came in the mail today. I bought them on eBay, and I had pretty low hopes that they would even fit, but they fit perfectly. Here we go. Let's see if we. I'll give you the shot. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they're so comfy. I love them. All right, I'll be wearing these everywhere, even in public. Like in Seinfeld, when George comes out, like he's draped in velvet. He just like has this velvet bodysuit. Okay, the first one to consider is Infinity, the role-playing game, and this is made by Modiphius. And by the way, they did a really great job on this. And as you know, Infinity is a miniatures game. This can use miniatures for sure. It does use abstract zones though, but you can easily do away with those and just have miniatures and move them around and stuff like that. It's the 2D20 system, which I love, which is rolling multiple dice for successes. And it has a traveler-like character generation system where you have like a profession and you go so many years or whatever, and you kind of roll up your character that way. So there is some randomness to it, and I've got all the books for it. There's a ton of really great books. Here's a Game Master's Guide. This one's unopened. Player Guide, and just a lot of cool stuff. The downside there, though, is that pretty much guaranteed the group is going to have to learn basically a new setting and a new system. But I do got a lot of miniatures already for it, and there's a lot of upsides for that. The next one is Champions, a point-buy superhero role-playing system. And the best version of like the 6 versions that exist is called Champions Complete. It has a very reasonably priced rulebook. It's really super easy to learn. And I absolutely love it. It's definitely not balanced. I have loads of supplements for it. I know the system inside and out. I can run it just like that. That's really easy. So, by the way, these are things, I just finished a high fantasy game. Oh, one of my daughter's hairs is in here. I just finished a high fantasy 5th edition game that I ran for 60 sessions, a year and a half to get that puppy done. And now I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to take a little break, but we shall see how long the DM's break shall be, because DMs are in high demand. So Champions, the superhero role-playing game, is really fantastic. I love it absolutely to death. The other one that I want to learn and use is Alien, the role-playing game. This thing is friggin' awesome. Oh my gosh. It's hard science fiction. It has a great streamlined system for it. I made a video about it, which maybe I can link for you. You basically, players would just need this in PDF, the basic core rulebook. It doesn't have it's not a lot of expansions. It's not like 5th edition where you'd have to get like, 4 to 6 books to, just kind of know what you were doing. Of course, you can always get PDFs and D&D Beyond and whatever is going on there. There's other stuff too. This is a 5th edition. By the way, do I have this? Nope, that's in. Is it all the way? Yeah, it is. This is FateForge, and this is outstanding. Look at this collector's edition. This is like way less expensive than getting the books individually, by the way. And there's a lot of great books in it. It's pretty cool. It's like, I don't know, all these 5th edition spin-offs, they're kind of like basically the same, Yeah. So here's the books inside. And then it's like a player handbook and a DM's guide and stuff like that. Let me just pull out one of the books for it. So these books are... So if you're familiar with 5th edition, this will be like old hat, but it has a lot of differences to it, and the system kind of matching the background of the game world, which I don't know much about. I've just sort of flipped through these. The art is insane. The books are lavish. Oh, smell the new books. It's really cool. I would definitely run that. Then, if you're really up for, if you're looking at first edition Dungeons and Dragons, there's like an evolutionary branch that's shot off of Dungeons and Dragons, and that is OSR, Old School Rules. You may be familiar with that. And so there's companies that took that first edition, they revamped it, streamlined it, made it make sense, maybe added some meat to it. And a lot of these are like really well established with a ton of playtesting and a ton of, what's that called, expansion material. So here's just a couple of them. Hold on. This is Dungeon Crawl Classics. And the rule book for this is insane. Look at that. Look at how huge that is. And it's all black and white. It kind of has that old school feel to it. And look at that guy. He's not messing around. A little bit of a Warhammer fantasy feel to it. And it's a science fiction fantasy. So it's got like, you know, the old inspirations of what is it called? Amazing Tales. So lots of charts in here. Magic is dangerous. It's kind of like, not low fantasy, but sideways fantasy. It's got like you got a +1 sword, you've got something. And then of course the downside of doing something like this from where I am is I gotta read this book and like know it to DM it. Of course that's not true. If you're a DM like me and you're just making up a lot of stuff, well, you just kind of make it your own and read what you want to read. So that's Dungeon Crawl Classics. Then there's a lot of them. There's a lot of systems out there that are old school rules. Personally, I think like a lot of them are too light for me. Like it's like beer and pretzels. I don't want that. I want a little bit of crunch. I want a street taco. All right. The Amazing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. And this game's really awesome. I've looked at it in many of its iterations, but it's definitely an old school rules Amazing Tale type of thing. Lots of charts and things in it. You just open it to anywhere and there's whatever. The problem with any of these games, even like 5th edition revamps, like FateForged, is that they, it's the same old stuff. It's like, hold person, fireball. There's very little variation. You go through the monster manual, like, I've seen this all, I've read this all. Even the Fiend Folio, which came out early 80s, has more original stuff that people have just forgotten about than this supposedly new stuff has created. So it's a really tough call. Well, those are my thoughts on some things in terms of do next. By all means, leave your comments below in the comments section. The other thing is, in case you notice sort of my weird, like how I've been phrasing everything, it's a friend of mine has approached me to do an in-person classic D&D game, and of course there's a lot of investment in that in terms of time and creativity. So I'm just trying to get an idea of where I'm going to start, and that's why I made this video. But then of course, partway through getting set up for the video, I was like, I'll just make this public for everybody to see it and get all inspired, and also to see my new jams